And concurrently with this, you got Judge Sullivan engaged what I'm calling in is on, and this is a nice way of putting it, engaged in what I'm calling judicial adventurism against General Flynn. He's appointed this anti-Trump judge, anti-Flynn judge, to try to prosecute him, even though the government said he doesn't want to. They don't want to prosecute him on this charge. Now, General Flynn's lawyers filed a writ of mandamus. You may have heard that phrase again before from me, because that's what Hillary Clinton tried to do. It's an emergency motion to overturn an unlawful act by a judge, essentially. And what happened is that the appellate panel who received the writ told Judge Sullivan, that he had until June 1st to respond personally, which is rather unusual because judges often don't have to respond personally to these types of motions. I'm not aware of it happening recently. So this is a signal that the panel is pretty upset with Judge Flynn. And in the order, they reference this Fokker decision, F-O-K-K-E-R. You can look it up online. People talked about it as it relates to General Flynn. And the Fokker decision said that it's a circuit decision, which means it's in theory binding on Judge Sullivan, that judges can't play prosecutors. They can't play attorneys. They can't play U.S. attorney, which is what Judge Sullivan seems to be doing. So I'm hoping that Judge Sullivan is reminded of the rule of law, and quickly, so that General Flynn doesn't have to be tortured any further with needless court proceedings. So we'll see what happens there. And of course, the left is taking seriously Judge Sullivan's invitations to participate in this case. They're trying to paper the record with all this anti-Flynn, anti-Trump propaganda, suggesting the judge is well within his rights to usurp the power that our Constitution grants the executive branch to prosecute cases. He gets to be the judge and prosecutor at the same time. It's incredible. And it just proves to you, because again, I keep on telling you, the left doesn't care. Not everyone on the left, but the political hard left, in this case, the Obama-Clinton gang, they don't care one whit about the Constitution and your civil liberties. I mean, they're willing to endorse the worst type of government abuse, if it means getting their political enemies, achieving power, retaining power, you name it. And they're doing it again with General Flynn. In fact, there was another leak targeting Flynn just the other day, saying his name, quote, wasn't unmasked in the records. Well, that's, again, information that's classified and protected in theory by the Privacy Act. Another leak. Of course, it's like, don't you love this argument? Well, the FBI had the conversation allegedly of the Kislyak-Flynn communication, had the transcript of the conversation. And because it was the FBI doing it, they didn't need to unmask it because it wasn't, quote, foreign intelligence surveillance covered by the unmasking regulations. Well, that's ridiculous. It was private, so when it was disseminated, it was unmasked. Because someone technically didn't ask to have it unmasked, it's balderdash. And plus, I don't believe it anyway. Because we got the information that the chief of staff of the president unmasked Flynn's name as well, Barack Obama. So Barack Obama is tied to unmasking. But they're just continuing the coup gate, I guess that's a new one, Obama gate, leaking, targeting, victimizing. General Flynn, of course, it's all about getting President Trump as well. So the Justice Department isn't doing much in the way of justice recently. Once again, it's up to Judicial Watch. We can't prosecute anyone, but the least we can do is try to get the information out. And this is why Rich Grenell, who, by the way, the acting DNI, Director of National Intelligence, who declassified this document, and you can see there was no reason to keep it classified. There's no reason to keep it classified other than to cover up Obama and Comey's malicious attacks on and plans against President Trump, yes, and General Flynn. Classification in politically sensitive matters like this is rarely about protecting national security. It's often about protecting someone from embarrassment or being exposed for wrongdoing. In this case, arguably criminal wrongdoing. So this is something that people have been asking for to be fully disclosed for some time, and it's taken years to do it. And thank you, Director of National Intelligence Grinnell, who now I guess is no longer to be acting director because John Ratcliffe, who is the congressman from Texas, or was, has been confirmed by the Senate. And it was interesting because Ratcliffe was opposed by the establishment Republicans in the Senate last year when he was first nominated, and they had to pull his name. But then President Trump put Grinnell in there, and that sped Ratcliffe along because they couldn't stand the thought of Grinnell doing any more swamp draining while having that Office of Director of National Intelligence position. So it's kind of odd how Washington works in that regard.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.